Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Black Widow. And this movie came out in 2021. It was originally supposed to come out in May of 2020, but then COVID happened and then it got delayed, and it came out about a year later. And here we are, 2021. Well, actually, as of recording this, it's 2025, but still, it took me a while to watch this, and this was my second Phase 4 MCU film. The only one I had seen for the longest time was Spider Man No Way Home. And that one I think is really good. I can come back to this movie at any point, probably. And I hear Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is pretty good. From the looks of it, I think Phase 5 has better movies than Phase 4, because the ones that I've seen from Phase 4 are Deadpool and Wolverine, Thunderbolts, and The Fantastic Four First Steps. And those are all the MCU films, well, most of them, that I've seen since Spider Man Far From Home. I did see Captain America Brave New World, and that was not very good. And this one was probably my least favorite MCU film out of everything that I've seen. I'm not particularly looking forward to watching the rest of these movies. Some of them I am. I look forward to Doctor Strange 2 because it's Sam Raimi, but my main motivation for watching this movie isn't because, I want to see a Black Widow movie. Like, at the time, I was like, I don't really know if I would really need to see that. But rather, my motivation for watching this movie is because after watching Thunderbolts, I was curious as to the introduction to these characters, how this movie would handle some of these characters, like Red Guardian and Florence Pugh's character, the new Black Widow, without spoiling anything too much, even though probably everyone has seen Endgame and all these other MCU films. Like, I was curious to see some build up or just figure out where things would start, and I watched this movie and I got nothing out of it. It was really stupid, really dumb, and just all in the wrong ways. And the child performances weren't great. Luckily, they weren't in the movie too much, but they really dragged the movie down. And the opening to this movie was kind of bizarre. It's like one big long scene that goes on for a while. And once we get to the first action scene in this movie, it was honestly reminding me a bit of E.T. I was like, this is not a great start, but we're going along. This isn't too bad. Like, we can recover from this. And normally MCU films, they don't have a great start, in my opinion, but they build up and make their way into something good. Like, it was just the opening scene. Let's see where this movie goes from here. And then we're subjected to the opening credits, and has Smells Like Teen Spirit, not by Nirvana, but some other band. I forget exactly their name, but I think what really was distracting me about that version that they used was that the version that was used in this movie was also in the trailer for The Gallows, I believe. I haven't seen The Gallows, but I have seen the trailer for that movie. And while watching this movie and listening to that version of the song, that's all I was thinking about. And I do feel as though some of the best MCU films, even though there's a lot of them, and you might be intimidated to watch so many of them, but I feel as though the best ones work as standalone films. Like, if you haven't seen the previous MCU films or the required MCU films that know the full context as to what led up to the events of this movie, it'll still work because it's a good superhero movie, good action sequences, and good characters, and that's what you would want. But I can't say that about this movie because it doesn't really stand on its own, because it doesn't do anything all that great. It's like, all the interesting things that would make this movie work are just not here. Like, Thunderbolts, I was thinking, wow, that's a much better origin story to these characters than this movie. Like, it just does such a better job establishing those characters and making you feel for those characters, and it just does a great job overall. And this movie, it just didn't work. And Black Widow, I also have to mention this about the character. We've been waiting a long time for her to get an origin story, like her own movie, and we finally got it. And unfortunately, it's just not that great. There were some good performances, like Scarlett Johansson, I still like as Black Widow. Florence Pugh was pretty good as well, and I like David Harbour a lot. I think he brought a lot of humor that genuinely worked for me. And there was a car chase in this movie that was okay. I was like, okay, that's decent. That works for me. And the movie got slightly better for me once Florence Pugh came on screen, and that was about all of my positives. Like the action in this movie, generally speaking, not very good. Like the second action scene that we get, it's poorly shot and poorly edited together, and you can't make out what's going on too well. There's too many cuts, and it just becomes distracting. Like, I'm paying attention more to the editing than what I'm supposed to be shown, like the choreography, the actual action. Let me see that and be entertained by that and be impressed by it, but I can't because it's not very well shot. And this movie is directed by Kate Shortland, and I'm not really familiar with any of her movies. But I'm not really sure why she was given this project, other than they were probably thinking, oh, we're making a movie about a woman. We need to get a female director to handle this. That's probably what they were thinking, instead of actual talented directors who could probably bring a voice to a film or like give us something instead of just this. This nothing doesn't really bring anything to the table. And I get it that these MCU films don't really have that much of personality in terms of the filmmaking, but still, I would, at the very least, like some competent shots where I can see the action and be impressed by it. But that wasn't this movie, and the visual effects looked surprisingly bad in this movie. I was shocked because normally the visual effects in these movies look great. I don't know what happened here. And there was also some really bad dialogue at a few points. Not that these MCU films are known for dialogue or great lines or anything that has to do with dialogue, but still, it doesn't need to feel this on the nose, terribly written. Doesn't feel like I'm watching a character. I'm just seeing the writer just creating conflict because that's all we can get from the writers. It just felt very forced to me, and I was not on board for it. And I never once felt any tension throughout this entire film. Not just because this movie's a prequel, well, kind of a prequel. It's taking place during the events of Captain America Civil War, or slightly after-ish. Around that time, like 2016 or whatever. And while watching this movie, all I could think of was, I don't feel any tension, not just because I know that characters are not going to die, but also what was dragging this movie down is that this movie, like I said earlier, didn't work as a standalone film for me. And because of that, if it doesn't work as a standalone film, it's really difficult to buy into anything that the movie is doing. We get to scenes where there's implied tension, and I just never once believed it. Not just because of what was eventually going to happen, but also the film never gave you a reason to care about anything. Like, should I care about any of these characters? I sure didn't. It was kind of writing off of you knowing Black Widow or just having hints at her backstory and whatnot. Like, oh, you should be inherently invested in her character already because of that, and I just found it to be completely flat. Most of the comedy in this movie was terrible, couldn't stand it, and I just was enjoying basically nothing about this movie. It was kind of boring in the third act, and I was just emotionally checked out, and the only scenes that were entertaining for me was when the Red Guardian was on screen. He was kind of fun, but aside from that, this movie offered me nothing. And this movie had a massive budget, and according to Google, it had a $288.5 million budget. And sure enough, it did not make that back. It made like $379 million, so not very good. And that's about all I have to say about Black Widow. I hated it. I never want to see it again. It was a painful experience. Not the worst film I've ever seen in my life, but still, it doesn't have to be this bad. Would have preferred to have not have seen it at all, and I guess I was right in not wanting to see it because it wasn't very good. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Black Widow a 3 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below your thought of Black Widow, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.